Welcome to the show.
It's nice to be on the show again.
I like the orange.
That's right.
That looks nice. It looks very good against the blue,
That's
too.
right.
So, you are the former president.
Correct.
Are you currently holding an office at Modesto Junior College?
Yes, and now I'm the student trustee on the YCCD board.
Oh, that's right. You
so,
told me that.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
now I'm going to have to put that in my...
Now you have to change it all, and I got to change my business cards and the whole 9 yards. So yeah, now I sit on the board of trustees for YCCD district. So.
And that includes Columbia College up in the foothills too.
Yeah, Columbia College and Modesto Junior College. So I represent students, and I guess their needs and desires on both campuses. So it keeps me pretty busy.
We have a tax initiative coming up in November that could affect the students greatly. I understand that the unit fees have already gone up, but they could go up, what, a third more? Okay, tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it's not necessarily an initiative. When people say initiative, they think, oh, it's going to be on the ballot. So it's not a proposition, not an initiative, but it is a legislative act. Right now, it was put out by our speaker, John A. Perez, and it's called the Middle Class Scholarship Act. It's like 1500 and 1501. And so far they've made it through the Assembly. I think 1500 is still actually up for its third reading in the Assembly right now. So the first half of it has made it off into the Senate, so it was already approved in the Assembly. Now it's going off for approval in the Senate. It doesn't look like there's any problems. That's the one that says we want the Middle Class Scholarship Act. So we want to have tuition for higher ed slashed by 2/3. That's fine. Problem is now 1500. The other portion of it is still in the Assembly. It's got the backing of the Democrats currently, but there's still some hold up on the other side, and I think there's a few Democrats as well that are holding it up. That has to do with how it's funded, and what that has to do with is out-of-state. What it's asking for is to close the loophole for out-of-state businesses if they want to do business in the state of California. So where they actually have to pay the same tax rates as everyone else doing business in the state of California. During the last, I think it was under Schwarzenegger's last budget proposal, when it came out, there was a whole, give and take with the whole thing with that. And there was a special, somebody conceded, and there was a point put in there where it said out-of-state businesses have an option. They can either pay the same rate as everyone else, all the other businesses in the state of California, or they pay a lower rate. Obviously. I'm going to go ahead and probably say 99.9% of all businesses out there, unless they didn't know it existed, chose the lower rate. So what this is, what it's going to do is to fund the Middle Class Scholarship Act. What they're doing for the funding is going to be closing that loophole. So now, if you want to do business in the state of California and you're an out-of-state business, you have to play by this, on the same playing field as the rest of California businesses. And then that money, the revenue that's going to come in from that tax is going to be able to slash higher ed tuition by 2/3. You're gonna be looking at students who now are going to acquire huge amounts of debt, not have to acquire such huge amounts of debt. I mean, there's always going to be debt going to college, but it's going to decrease that significantly. You're going to go from going to UC, where it's going to cost you $12,000 at least, just for your units, going down somewhere in the neighborhood of $4,000 to $6,000. So it's a big difference for students, and that translates into more success when it comes to students who are going to these universities, going to the state colleges, be able to finish out, not be a burden on their parents or themselves later on, because of massive debt that they're going to incur. So this is why I'm going around trying to get the people as educated as I can on this, and this is entirely a legislative act, so it's going to be in the Senate and in the Assembly. I urge everyone to contact their representatives from their districts. Let them know that if you support higher ed, then let them know that you support higher ed, and they should support it too.
Have you heard any kind of rumors or chit-chat about this making California even less business friendly, or does it seem like most people are supporting this?
Well, I think with 36, I think the last census I looked at, it's only 33 to 36 million people we have in the state. Given California's own economy within itself, it's going to be very difficult for anyone not to do business. So if you're going to say, well, we're not going to go do business in California anymore, I don't see that being a real big issue. We have one of the highest populated states in the country, so we're right at the top. And to say that we're just not going to do business in California, it doesn't seem very likely. What it does do is it forces people to play on the same playing field as other businesses in California. To say that we're not business friendly by making everyone play it on the same playing field, if you're going to do business in California with those 36 million people, I think is a misnomer. I think that to call us not business friendly because of that, I think that we've been actually since that loophole was put in there, I think that we've been more than generous in many regards to how we treat out-of-state businesses. And I know that the intent there was to try to get businesses to come in here, but that's never been an issue even before the loophole was even put in there. Because before that, they were paying the same rate. Business hasn't increased or decreased. It's stayed pretty stable. About the only thing that businesses have seen is slightly less taxes if they're out of state and trying to do business in California. So I would say no, it's not necessarily, I mean, I guess anybody can make an argument for anything, but I would say from my perspective and the research I've done on this and being involved in it like I haven't seen that it makes our state any more hostile to businesses now.
The flip side of that same coin is, do you see that California has, in the past, kind of sacrificed their own people at the expense of others?
Which others?
Like the out-of-state businesses.
Okay.
We sacrifice our students' cost or tuition. They're paying more, or their parents are paying more,
Right.
to entice out-of-state businesses to come in. Do you see that the legislature within California has sacrificed Californians at the expense of outsiders?
I mean, when the loophole was first put in, obviously Democrats and Republicans wanted a budget for the state of California. Obviously, there were some issues with that, but they both wanted it. Democrats were on board with signing off on the new budget. Republicans wanted some consent, just like the other side. Both sides want different things in there, and that was one of the things that was put into it. Republicans put in the tax loophole, obviously for to make California more business friendly. That being said, by doing that, we have made it easier for out-of-state, like you said, out-of-state businesses to do business here. But yes, at the same time, we've also, over the course of those years, also increased tuition on schooling, on higher ed. And right now, so that in itself is kind of, putting the students out, putting their families out while we're trying to help businesses. But the problem is that if we're not, we can be helping businesses all we want, but if we're not putting educated people into the workforce, then the businesses aren't going to have the people, ready, knowledgeable, and capable of doing the jobs that they require. So it's really a give and take. So you have to be able to support, and give access to as many students as you can, and make it affordable, and make it worthwhile for them to get through college, not being, burdensome debt for the rest of their life over the whole thing, or then, people are going to opt out of that. And we also have to make California, accessible to businesses, in-state, out-of-state, or whatever. And I think that by equaling the playing field for in-state or out-of-state businesses, that's also going to entice businesses who are in California to stay here, because they know now if that becomes a reality, then they'll know if I go out of state just to save a little bit of tax money, it's no longer going to be the case. Mm-hmm. So. Again, it's keeping businesses here in California, because we also have, we're going to have the same kind of tax base for that as well, and it's going to help fund the people that are going to be eventually going to the workforce. I mean, without educated people going to the workforce, what hope for businesses do we have? I mean, then who's going to be coming into here, to California to be looking for workers? Not going to be any. So, California's had a long-standing reputation of having some of the greatest higher ed universities and and state colleges in the United States, and it really, I mean, it's gone downhill a little bit, but I think that if we catch it now, I think if we do what's right in the short term, we're going to see long-term benefits.
Going along the same line of leveling the playing field, but kind of switching gears, what do you think of the DREAM Act?
Well, I think that there's obviously lots of back and forth on the whole DREAM Act. I know that working with the students here in the Yosemite Community College District, there's a lot of avenues now that students have access to, financial aid. They have students that are, able to, go to school now and better themselves. And these are students that that don't have access to immigration here. So you have a lot of people over here illegally. I don't know that I've had lots of conversations with people. It doesn't seem necessarily that there's a big issue with them getting the benefits of it. It's that they should be citizens of the United States. I mean, they pay taxes when they if they go to have managed to have a job. It's really not an issue of should they have an education or should they have a job. It's what are we doing to make it any easier for them to become citizens. And I think that there have been recent legislative acts that have made that somewhat easier. And I think that if we are going to hold ourselves as the melting pot, or the land of opportunity, I think that we really do need to make it easy for people to not so easy, but we need to make it somewhat easy to become a citizen here. If we're looking for a tax base, if we're looking for people to contribute to society, make them a citizen. They pay their taxes. They work. They contribute. Just because you're an illegal immigrant does not make you a bad person. Doesn't make you somebody who's unwilling to pay taxes. I mean, I know plenty of people who've naturalized over here illegally and legally, and they're both great people, and I don't seem to have an issue with either one of them. So it really comes down to what avenues can we open for them to be able to be contributing members of society, rather than holding them at the gate and then they can't contribute anything. So.
How do you feel about the fee waivers and kind of giving them, whoever them may be, a leg up? For instance, like low income or immigrants or minorities or anything like that, when there may be someone else who needs fee waivers as well, but because they don't quite qualify because of their ethnicity, they don't. How do you, as working in the junior college, because I see you being involved with this years down the road, even after you're done getting your degree.
Forever.
How do you see justifying giving a fee waiver to this person based on their ethnicity versus someone who may be in the same situation, just a different ethnicity?
I haven't seen too much issue with it being a cultural or an ethnic problem. It's always been based on dealing with the financial aid department just the other day when we were talking to them about how a lot of that works. It's income based. I mean, so we have people who, like myself, I'm a BOG fee waiver, Board of Governors waiver. So my units only cost so much money because I make under a certain amount of money per year, and that is supposed to help lower income people be able to access higher education, not have to pay an arm and a leg for units. And so far, it has not been an issue of ethnicity or gender or any type of background in that sense, other than your what you qualify per year and how much your income is. So far I don't really see an issue with that. I would have to say I haven't seen a real big issue with people getting turned down or turned away from it, especially after the DREAM Act was implemented. A lot of the same people already had the BOG free waiver or qualified for it, not because of ethnic backgrounds or anything like that, but just simply because they didn't qualify for it because of income.
I have a question, and this has been kind of a pet peeve with me with MJC, and let me see how much time I have. Oh, I only have 6 minutes, so
okay. Pet peeve with MJC, go for it.
Okay, and that is the 3 times that I've tried to sign up for classes over there, and once completely successful.
Yeah.
The second time, semi-successful, and the third time I just walked away. And that is, the lines are so long, you get there and you stand in line literally for 2 hours and 45 minutes, only to get to the window and find out that you were in the wrong line.
Yeah.
Now, how can, I hear chuckling from the studio audience over there, so obviously they've been to MJC. Are all community colleges like this, where it's like the DMV almost?
Well, all community colleges are their own separate, entity in that sense. I mean, they all kind of, we have a 2-campus system, so a lot of our resources have to be split between 2 campuses. There's a lot of campuses that are only, 1 campus. So there's not, so there may be more people at one window versus 2 different windows on 2 different campuses, or however that works. MJC may be somewhat unique in that sense because we have multi-campus, campus, East and West campus there. But that being said, also it also comes down to funding. We've had $4 million that were cut already. We have another $4 million coming down the pipeline that's going to be cut. The only reason that MJC has stayed afloat in a lot of respects is because we had the foresight to have a reserve account put up through our chancellor. And now we're hoping...
We're not even going to talk about the chancellor.
And I have to say the chancellor has done a great job so far in managing through these huge budget cuts that we've had. And a lot of the things that you're talking about having lines on it, simply a staffing issue. We can't staff half the things with enough people because there's just not enough money to hire the
How
people.
do we, okay, as a student trustee,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I'm asking you, as a potential student going
Mm-hmm.
back to MJC, I went through the college, over the West Valley College
Mm-hmm.
district over in the Bay Area, and there didn't seem to be any issues of getting through,
Mm-hmm.
You go here, you go here, you go there. But at MJC, it seems very confusing, even when you get to the window.
Yeah.
Where do you go? How do you
It's gotten
see
better.
that?
It's gotten a little bit better. I don't know if you've been on campus in the last few months. There's been the new student
No.
services building, brand new buildings.
We'll make an appointment, and you can show me around campus.
The brand new student services building, where what they did was they said, okay, well there used to be a line over here, 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 and
Oh,
here.
yes, yes.
Now they said, okay, you know what? We're going to make it all in one building. So the Measure E bonds that that were
yes,
used created the student services building. Now we're all the student services, or at least 99% of them are all in that building. And there's a little help desk at the front window.
Oh, that's
so if you have
going to be helpful.
So if you have a question, you go up to them first. Be like, I need this. Okay, go up there or wherever.
That is
so it's
good to know.
far less tedious than it used to be when you were like, okay, so wait, there's a different, and it's in a different building there, and then you have to go. Yeah, it's gotten a lot better. Now we have counseling, and we have we have a lot of the all of the kind of where's my classes and how do I get there. It's pretty much all over there now.
Now, I kind of half jokingly said that you could show me around campus. Do you give tours, either you or other staff or people who work?
If you come by the Student Development and Campus Life
Okay.
on the East Campus in the Student Center
Okay.
building, that's where our offices are at as well. The ASMJC offices are at. Student Development Campus Life office is right there. We can help you. I mean, if you're just entirely lost or something's not right, we've had plenty of students come in there. We've been able to help them out. Give them a little firsthand experience. I mean, we've been down the road. We know where you're at, so we'll try to get you along the way. So.
Besides the MJC building, where can we find you?
JC. Well, you can find me on Facebook. You can find me on there. You can look at my name. It's Douglas Dyrssen. So Douglas Dyrssen. Or you can type that in, douglasdyrssen@gmail.com. So either which way will do. I'm on Facebook all the time, so I'm sure people love to go on there and pick my brain, or
They'll be calling you.
So.
Okay, we're setting up a tour.
There you go, and we'll see what we can do to make that happen. There you go.
Thanks, Douglas.
All right, absolutely.